picture this, right? You're in an intercultural relationship.
Okay, setting the scene.
Yeah. You're falling in love across oceans, and those early late night conversations are just, well, they're almost always about logistics.
Oh, absolutely. It's all time zones and visas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're coordinating when to call. You're booking these brutal long haul flights, just, trying to figure out how to close that physical distance.
Right.
But eventually, if everything aligns, the conversation just inevitably shifts to, like, the ultimate high stakes project, bringing a human life into the world.
It really is the ultimate pivot, isn't it? I mean, you transition from managing a relationship to managing a highly complex enterprise.
Enterprise is the perfect word for it. Welcome to today's Deep Dive, everyone. I'm your host, and with me is our resident expert, ready to break all this down.
Hey, everyone. Great to be here.
So, to the untrained eye, having a baby looks exactly the same no matter where you are on the map.
A crib is a crib, right?
Yeah, a crib is a crib. The stroller is a stroller. But underneath all of those warm, sentimental milestones, there is a very cold structural reality.
Yeah, there really is.
Bringing a child into the world is an enterprise of just massive resource allocation. And the ground rules of that enterprise, they change completely depending on the flag flying outside your window.
They do. The structural philosophies of these different nations couldn't be more opposed, really. And it fundamentally alters, how you operate as a parent.
Which brings us to the mission for today. You sent us this fascinating stack of sources for this one. Economic analyses of global healthcare, expat tax guides, sociological research.
It's a dense stack of data, for sure.
It is. And we are taking all your notes and just stripping away the fairy tales. Because if you look at raising a child under a Western flag, so places like Canada, the U.S., Western Europe, you are plugging into an ecosystem of institutional safety nets.
Right. It's highly standardized.
Exactly. It's state-subsidized care designed to catch you if you fall. But it demands your independence, and it demands high taxes.
Whereas, if you look at the Philippine flag and all this research you brought, the entire matrix just flips upside down.
It's a completely different universe.
It really is.
The system there is highly privatized. It's decentralized. It demands that you be the sovereign architect of your child's future.
Using personal wealth and family.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So today, we are looking at the raw, unvarnished blueprint of raising a child in these two distinctly different worlds.
No sugarcoating.
None at all. And I promise you, by the end of this deep dive, you are going to walk away with the ultimate strategic playbook extracted directly from your sources for combining the best of both worlds.
I love that.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the physical creation of life.
Right. So from conception straight through to the delivery room, the medical gauntlet.
Because right out of the gate, you hit the ultimate financial gatekeeper. Let's look at how these two systems handle the pregnancy itself.
Well, in the West, this phase is incredibly systematized. I mean, if you are in a country with universal health care, like the UK or Canada, your standard prenatal care is fully covered by your taxes.
It's just baked in.
Exactly. The mechanism is simple, right? The state pools the risk. Routine blood work, genetic testing, ultrasounds. You literally just walk into the clinic, show your card, and walk out.
And even in the United States, which is obviously a bit different, while you have to navigate private corporate insurance networks with copays and all that, the clinical path and the financial maximums are still heavily regulated.
Right. There are guardrails in place.
But then what about the time you actually need to bond with the child?
Right.
Parental leave.
Oh, it's massive in the West. The state actively anchors the home during those fragile early months because, well, it views early child development as a public good.
Right.
In places like Canada or Northern Europe, parents can share up to 18 months of job-protected, state-subsidized leave.
18 months.
Yeah.
Which, sounds absolutely incredible on paper.
It does.
But then, looking at the data you provided on the Philippines, the reality is entirely tiered based on your economic bracket.
Yeah, completely.
If you want world-class, elite OBGYN care at a premier medical center in Manila, you're either paying entirely out of pocket in cash, or you need to purchase a premium private HMO plan long before you ever get pregnant.
That's right. It's a totally different approach. But legally, I mean, we should note the Philippines has actually made massive strides recently.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the expanded maternity leave law now mandates an impressive 105 days of fully paid leave for mothers.
And up to 120 days for solo parents.
Exactly. The law forces employers to subsidize that recovery period. But the structural support for the father, that is a completely different story.
Oh, man.
Married fathers legally get exactly 7 days of paid paternity leave.
7 days. I mean, if you're the dad, you barely have time to figure out how to install the car seat before you were just right back at your desk.
You're back to the grind immediately.
That means from the very beginning, the physical and logistical burden of a pregnancy in the Philippines leans incredibly hard on the mother's career flexibility.
Or your ability to hire private help.
Right. And that brings us to the highest drama of all, which is the delivery room.
The first major financial shock of the enterprise.
Listen to this contract from the economic data, because this is wild. In socialized Western nations, childbirth essentially costs you $0 out of pocket at the point of service.
Nothing.
Zero. You could have a complex labor, an emergency C-section, a 3-week stay in the NICU, neonatal intensive care unit.
Yeah.
And you just walk out with a healthy baby and a bill for absolutely nothing.
Because, again, the state or the insurance pool absorbs that catastrophic risk.
And even in the U.S., with private insurance, your out-of-pocket maximums are generally capped around, say, $3,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
It is a financially protected event.
Yes, but in the Philippines.
Oh, in the Philippines, childbirth at a reputable private hospital is treated as a premium consumer experience.
You are billed for every single line item.
Down to the surgical gloves. A routine delivery is roughly 50,000 to 120,000 pesos.
Right.
Complications requiring a C-section. That instantly escalates to 150,000 to 300,000 pesos or more.
And if your baby needs the NICU...
We are talking millions of pesos. Millions. It is a catastrophic out-of-pocket risk that is fully capable of wiping out a family's entire life savings.
Now, there is PhilHealth, the National Health Insurance Program.
Yeah, but from the sources, it only covers a fixed fractional tier of those private fees, right? It's like a drop in the bucket.
It really is. It shifts the entire risk profile right onto the individual family.
It feels like the West is a mandatory, all-inclusive subscription service where taxes pay your premium. But the Philippines is this ultra-premium a la carte menu.
That is a great analogy.
But wait, I have to ask, if you don't have the cash in the Philippines, are you just out of luck? Like, are people just turned away at the door?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the public system functions as a fail-safe, but with some pretty severe compromises.
Okay.
The government actually has a no-balance billing policy.
How does that actually work?
It means that if you are in the lowest income bracket or you're a senior citizen and you use a public hospital ward, the hospital legally cannot charge you a single peso above what the national insurance PhilHealth covers.
Oh, okay. So you aren't just left out on the street.
No, you aren't. However, the underlying mechanism of that system is chronic underfunding.
Right.
Those facilities are heavily congested, they're understaffed, and they offer absolutely zero privacy. The core takeaway from your sources is this. In the Philippines, if you want elite safety, comfort, and top-tier medical intervention, you just cannot rely on the state. You have to fund it yourself.
You have to build your own infrastructure.
Exactly.
Okay, so the state might cover the delivery room in the West, which sounds amazing. But the moment you bring that baby home, the financial reality flips entirely.
It really does.
Let's look at the daily grind of keeping that child healthy and safe while the parents try to return to the workforce. The toddler years.
This is where we see the ongoing pediatric realities diverge.
In the West, early childhood health care is perfectly integrated into that safety net. You have zero point-of-service cost for a fever at 2 a.m.
Right.
Immunizations are tracked and administered through public health boards. But in the Philippines, it is a continuous out-of-pocket expense.
Yes. Although the government does provide free basic vaccines.
Like polio and BCG at local health centers.
Exactly. But if you want the premium vaccines, like rotavirus or pneumococcal,
those are strictly private, and they cost thousands of pesos per dose.
Not to mention every single private pediatrician consult runs you 500 to 1,500 pesos every single time you walk in the door.
It adds up so fast. But truthfully, those healthcare costs are just like the prelude to a much larger structural issue parents face at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. The childcare issue.
The great childcare paradox. This was the absolute aha moment for me when I was reading through the sociological research you provided. Because on paper, The West looks like a financial utopia.
It really does.
Canada, for example, has the Canada Child Benefit. This is a tax-free monthly check, sometimes hundreds of dollars, sent directly to families just to offset the cost of raising a child.
It is direct, liquid capital deposited right into your account to subsidize the household.
But wait, I'm confused. If I am paying massive taxes in the West, specifically to fund this, institutional safety net, how on earth am I suddenly getting hit with a $1,500 to $2,500 a month private daycare bill?
Yeah, it's staggering.
Where is my tax money going if not to childcare?
That is the exact blind spot of the Western model. Historically, Western welfare states were built around a single earner model.
All right.
The infrastructure just assumed someone, usually the mother, would stay home until the child hit public school age. So the state heavily funds medical care and K-12 education, but it completely neglected the early childhood gap.
So the result is this astronomically expensive bottleneck. It effectively forces countless professional women to completely abandon their careers.
Because their entire salary would just go toward paying the daycare center.
Exactly. So they step away from the workforce and they end up trapped in this physical suburban isolation, just watching the kids alone.
You are financially subsidized by the government, but you are socially and physically isolated. There is no village down the street to watch the baby for free.
But then you look at the Philippines. The government is absolutely not going to send you a monthly check. There are no direct financial handouts.
None.
But they offer a profound structural advantage that the West has completely lost. The village.
And we really need to explain why that village exists, because it's not just, cultural warmth, it's an economic reality.
Right.
The Philippines has an economy heavily reliant on multi-generational households. It is an economic necessity for extended families to live together or in close proximity.
And the wealth disparity plays into this too, right?
It does. The massive wealth disparity means that middle-class professionals can easily afford to employ domestic labor.
Right. You can hire a dedicated stay-in yaya or a nanny for a tiny fraction of what daycare costs in the West.
Exactly.
Plus, you have grandparents, aunts, and cousins living just steps away. Think about how this changes the game for an ambitious mother.
It's huge.
She can run an online business, she can take global corporate meetings, she can climb the ladder, all while knowing her child is safe in the next room, just wrapped in this deep emotional safety net.
It is a complete inversion. The West subsidizes your wallet, but it isolates you. The Philippines taxes your wallet through out-of-pocket costs, but it subsidizes your time and your community.
Subsidizes your time. Wow, that is so perfectly put. Okay, moving on. As the child grows, the costs morph again.
They always do.
We move out of daily childcare and into the heaviest long-term investment of all, formal education. And this ties directly into how government tax structures work.
The schooling divide is where we see the most explicit divergence. In the West, public education is designed to be the great social equalizer.
Because it's funded by property taxes mostly.
Right. Because public schools are typically funded by local property taxes, the baseline quality in a decent neighborhood is exceptionally high. You have state-of-the-art facilities, highly regulated teaching staff.
And it's a direct, virtually free pipeline to a top-tier university. Sure, private school exists in the West, but it's like a luxury. It's not a survival requirement.
Exactly.
But in the Philippines, the public school system faces some really severe systemic challenges. We're talking massive classroom shortages, high student-to-teacher ratios, sometimes even rotating shifts just to fit everyone in.
Meaning that for the middle class, private school isn't a luxury. It is completely non-negotiable.
If you want your kid to have tech fluency and a shot at top universities like Ateneo or De La Salle, you are paying the private school premium.
You have to.
And the sheer weight of these numbers.
Yeah.
We were talking 50,000 to 250,000 pesos per year.
Plus the hidden costs.
Oh, right. The mandatory gadgets, the specialized buses, the field trips. It requires massive, deliberate capital planning from the literal day the child is born.
It does. But this brings us to a really fascinating layer of the expat tax guides you shared, the hidden institutional menus.
The secret menus that unlock the moment you sign a birth certificate. I love this part.
Precisely. Let's look at the mechanisms. In the West, the menu is built entirely around liquid capital and tax shielding.
Okay.
We talked about Canada's direct cash flow, but they also have the RESP, the Registered Education Savings Plan.
How does that actually compound? Like, what are the numbers?
The Canadian government literally matches 20% on the first $2,500 you save annually for your child's university.
That's amazing.
And that money then grows completely tax-free until the child withdraws it for school.
Wow.
And the U.S. has aggressive child tax credits that directly reduce your income tax burden dollar for dollar. It is legally guaranteed, compounding free money.
Okay, so that's the West. What about the Philippines? Because they aren't matching investments like that.
No, the Philippines offers what we might call targeted agility. It's not a cash deposit into your bank account, but it has institutional teeth.
What do you mean?
Take the Solo Parents Welfare Act. If you qualify, the law mandates a 10% discount and a VAT exemption on baby milk, food supplements, and medicines up to age 6.
That's a massive daily discount on really expensive essentials.
It is. They also utilize DepEd tuition vouchers through a program called Education Service Contracting.
Right, because the public schools are congested. The government actually subsidizes a portion of your private high school tuition just to keep you out of the public system.
Exactly. It's a very agile workaround.
So what does this all mean? Should a parent just naturally flock to the West, grab the compounding free money, and call it a day?
Well, this raises an important question, and it really comes down to a philosophical choice between dependency versus sovereignty.
Unpack that.
If you rely entirely on a government check in the West, but your baseline income is low, you are safe from starvation, yes, but you are structurally broke, exhausted, and isolated. You are dependent.
Right.
On the flip side, if you rely on the Philippine model without a highly strategic, robust income, you are one medical emergency or one tuition hike away from total financial ruin. The key isn't picking the quote-unquote better country. The key is taking total ownership.
Yes, total ownership. Which brings us perfectly to the climax of this deep dive. Looking at the expat financial guides and data you included in your sources, there was a clear, elite 4-step strategy hidden in the data for cross-cultural couples.
There really is.
How do you stop choosing between the two systems and start playing the board like a master strategist?
Let's lay it out.
Step 1, Western financial arbitrage.
The absolute foundation of the strategy.
If you can earn in a strong Western currency, like US dollars, Canadian dollars, you're through remote work, freelance, or corporate roles, while physically living in the Philippines, you instantly bypass the catastrophic out-of-pocket risk of the Philippine system.
You become your own safety net.
You turn yourself into an elite economic force. Suddenly, a 300,000 peso hospital bill or a 250,000 peso tuition fee isn't a crisis. It's just a manageable operating expense.
Because your purchasing power allows you to buy the premium private infrastructure that the Philippine state doesn't provide.
Exactly. Okay, step 2, the Philippine Village for career acceleration. Instead of moving to the West right away and getting crushed by isolation and those $2,500 a month daycare bills, you anchor the fragile newborn and toddler years in the Philippines.
This is a highly strategic move for the mother's professional trajectory. By surrounding the family with the extended cultural village and utilizing affordable, dedicated home care, the mother doesn't have to sacrifice her career momentum.
She keeps climbing.
She can scale her business and build equity uninterrupted.
While the kid is absolutely surrounded by a deep, loving cultural safety net.
Exactly.
Okay, step 3. This is the most highly leveraged strategy in the data, the dual country benefit pipeline. It's basically financial arbitrage.
It's brilliant.
You're earning in a currency valued on Western inflation, but spending in an economy priced for a completely different standard of living. It's like bringing a massive battery charged by a Western power grid to run a household in a localized, low-cost grid.
That is a perfect analogy. You are essentially ordering from both hidden menus at once.
Yes.
Through the Western Father, you secure those government-matched education grants, the RESPs, and you claim those aggressive Western tax shields. You build a fortress of liquid foreign capital.
But simultaneously, living in the Philippines, you tap into that institutional agility.
Exactly. You use the DepEd tuition vouchers to subsidize the private academy fees. You optimize the legislative texts of 2 different sovereign nations at the exact same time.
Double dipping into global infrastructure. I absolutely love it. And finally, step 4, the Western institutional safe haven, dual citizenship.
Right. By securing dual citizenship from birth, the child gets this incredibly grounded, community-rich, premium childhood in the Philippines.
But they hold absolute frictionless access to the West in their back pocket.
Yes. When they turn 18 and it's time for higher education, or entering the global corporate job market, the door is wide open.
They completely bypass the brutal, restrictive international visa systems that hold so many people back.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just parenting anymore.
No, it is global engineering. You are using the West to secure the currency, the tax advantages, and the legal safe haven.
And you are using the Philippines to secure the premium lifestyle, the childcare leverage, and the rich cultural foundation.
Bringing a child into this world demands your capital, your time, your heart, and your strategy. And, it is so easy to get caught up in the dependent lens.
Very easy. Just wishing one country would fix all its problems and hand you the perfect life.
Exactly. But when you look at this through a global sovereign lens, everything changes.
You realize you are not at the mercy of the system. You can design your own.
Whether you are deciding to anchor your family in the snowy suburbs of Calgary or on a beautiful warm coast of the Philippines, the ultimate environment for a child is one of intentional design.
Absolutely.
You have the power to write a completely new blueprint for your family's legacy.
But it requires clarity, and it requires aligning with your partner on exactly what that design looks like.
And that leaves us with one final, really fascinating thought to chew on. We've just outlined how intercultural couples can essentially hack the global system to raise elite children with the absolute best of both worlds.
We have.
So how long until we see a massive wave, a whole new generation of truly borderless digital native families?
That's a wild thought.
Right. Families who don't look at national citizenship as this deep tribal identity, but simply as a utility, a tool to be optimized on a global chessboard.
Which is a fascinating paradigm shift.
It really is. Yeah. So, to you listening, put down your phone. Look at the beautiful project in front of you. Align with your partner. And start building that legacy.
You don't have to choose between a safety net and a sovereign architecture.
No, you can build both. Thank you so much for sending in these sources and joining us on this deep dive. Remember that initial image? The time zones, the flights, the distance.
It was all just training for the real enterprise.
It really was. We'll catch you on the next one.